I love creating things. I love seeing things grow and seeing things develop, and I get a great amount of satisfaction from that. So if I wasn't making art, I would be making, or I would be creating, whether that be a carpenter or a farmer. But I can't see myself doing anything that doesn't involve making. Again, I was a kid who, tried to grow pumpkins every year. I was always trying to grow something, always trying to raise something, always trying to create something. Yeah, I think oil painting, that was like the first art medium I was really drawn to. Sorry, that's a lie. Because I was a comic book kid. That was like the first art form I was obsessed with. Yeah, was comic illustrations. And there's a lot of figurative work, portraiture in comics. And so I think that appreciation kind of just matured with me, and then it was classical oil portrait paintings. I love depictions of people. I have depictions of humans, and I think one of the most effective ways I've seen that is through oil painting, oil portraiture, and working with the medium. Like, the medium itself is very, very satisfying to use. You can be as precise as you want to, but there's also a lot of room for experimentation, like when you introduce solvents, or even just like pressing materials into wet oil. I like that you can be as precise as you would like, but then the oils will shift and settle over time. So you can work with it and revisit it like a couple hours later, and it's changed, and often it's for the better, because I don't know everything when I'm painting in oil, and I'm open to things happening naturally. Yeah, so the unpredictability of it is very helpful when it comes to my practice. It can allow for like new textures to appear. It's a collaboration between like my thoughts and my intent and the medium. Oil is the perfect medium for that, a perfect medium for that. So when it comes to processing material, often it's just I'm interested in the material. I'm interested in the cultural, historical, and geographical context of that material. And so I'll start processing it before I even know what I'm going to do with it. I mean, with the sugarcane is a significant crop in the Caribbean. So there's a lot of, it's a loaded material. And before I knew what I was going to do with it, I was just like, let's start processing it. Now that I have it in my studio, I can look to it when I'm stuck on a project, and I can incorporate it. Even like formally, the materials that I have, they influence my work. Like when I'm stuck on a formal decision, like I find a lot of inspiration in the textures and the colors of the materials that I have in my studio. Even if I don't know what the end game is, having the materials present and processed allows me to access them and incorporate them into what I'm working on at the time. Yeah, this is my collection of goodies, oddities, found materials, things I found as a kid on my grandparents' property, things I've found recently. I've got bones that my little cousins have brought me from Saskatchewan, because the family knows that I love collecting these kinds of materials. I've got cowrie shells, got sea urchins, sand, bones, honeycombs. A lot of these are loaded materials, but even without that, they're still formally very relevant, and they inspire my practice. Yeah, I mean, I have a jar of hair. I've got my own hair in here, my dad's hair, my grandfather's hair. I'm the unofficial family barber, and it's amazing that, I mean, in this jar it kind of all looks like it belongs to one person. And also I think it's kind of special for me that I have my father and my grandfather trust me to cut their hair a lot of black men, your hair is a source of pride. And so to be able to have those moments where I have my grandfather and my father sitting in front of me and I'm, cutting their hair and talking to them is pretty cool. And so this is, I don't know, a special item for me. I have no clue what I'm going to do with it. I might not do anything with it, but it's something that matters to me. And so it goes into my collection. I want a direct relationship with the materials I'm using. I don't want to rely on a factory-made version of something. I listen to the materials that I'm working with. I can't take as much credit as I'd like to. Sometimes things just happen how they happen, like really and truly. Especially when working with natural materials. How I want to sew something isn't necessarily how it's going to turn out. How I want to glue something or adhere something or mix something in. Sometimes they separate and they crack. And those moments sometimes are the most beautiful portions of a piece. And I, would love to say I did that on purpose, but that wasn't me. Throw me in freaking a field with things and I would make work that would look like this work. Like the materials I use and the mediums I use were accessible 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. And a lot of the materials were culturally relevant then and they're culturally relevant now. Then that's what I love about old oil paintings, is that I can connect with something that was made 400 years ago. I can connect with a painting that someone did of their daughters or their lover or even just a sitter. And that can make me feel something now, and I carry that into my practice. Making art is you're passing the torch. I feel like I'm a steward for creativity. I'm here on this planet for as long as I am to create. In the short time that we're here, we should be helping one another, whether that's emotionally, financially, whatever, in whatever way. And so that's, when I think about legacy, that's what I'm more interested in. Like, I don't really care to be remembered for. I hope that I can, in this lifetime, be someone who supports other people, whether it be family or friends, and just, that's what's more important, is I don't care about legacy. I care about uplifting the people around me. And if I can do that through art, then what more could I ask for?